There is this outward confidence, and there is also this internal questioning inside of us. And there is like a study that has been done like lately by what, 2022, I think it's from KPMG, and they found that 75% of high achieving women or executive women, they suffer from imposter syndrome at some point of their career, or their life, and it's a huge percentage to think about.
Yeah,
And
75%, it is three
yeah,
quarters.
yes, and it does say a lot, because either like they have like a fear of being found out, like rejected, or they can't speak up, or they sometimes it's not just a failure, a feeling of failure or something, but just those high achieving women, they always like taking more than their share in teams. They're always like overworking. They're always like putting a lot of efforts to be at that point. But there's always that internal questioning, but they're not aware of it. And like, I'm gonna go back to the awareness phase, Maria, because it's very important to talk about those. And we have 4 levels of awareness, That's the beginning of any transformation we can have. The first one is we're not aware at all, and that's the what we call the unconscious
Completely.
unawareness.
So many people walk the streets in the
It's the blind state, like if you want to call it that way. This is where we don't know. We have no idea what's going on. We operate through autopilot. Sometimes we are shaped by patterns, by self limited beliefs, by a lot of things. We're searching for external validation, but there is no recognition of what we do, and we're not aware. So this is the first phase. The second phase is also the conscious unawareness, Now this is the recognition phase, or the recognition stage. This is where you start to awaken, You start asking questions, those small questions. Sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's a discomfort, sometimes it's you realize that this is not working. I don't know why, but it's not working. So you start putting those seeds of questions, The third phase of the awareness phase is the conscious awareness, This is where it becomes intentional, Now you start observing yourself in real time. You start observing the patterns. You start following, what's going on with you. You follow your emotions, your language, your energy, your choices, and everything, And then the last one, which is the unconscious awareness. The unconscious awareness, this is the embodied phase, for the awareness, but not for the whole process. This is where you start, you operate from intuition. You are very aware of what's going on. You saw the patterns, you saw the how it's shaped and why you have this and this, and then you start changing. You are more present now. So the awareness, I think it's the first level of transformation for me, and it's very, very important for us as coaches to teach women to be aware of their awareness.
Yes, I remember Dr. Joe Dispenza talks in one of his meditations, aware that I am aware. And that is really putting yourself as a drone looking down at your patterns and seeing it fully from a different a bird-eye view. It's kind of a metaphor here. But that awareness is everything. And going through those 4 stages will have to be part of that quantum journey, part of that lens journey that you take your clients into, and the emotional intelligence journey, that different lens that we both have, and where also I believe magic happens and at alignment. I know that we been nearly 40 minutes into our conversation, but we haven't, in the beginning when we met, and as I said, it was a space where your energy and my energy met somewhere because somebody tagged you in one of my posts. And I want to mention this because I want our audience or anyone listening to us today or in the future. She tagged, we connected, and we have then fed slowly the connection through our embodiment, if I would call it that way, of our individual energy. And then you ask me a question, but it goes a little bit further. You talk about you creating a podcast that's called Quantum Conversations. It's beautiful. I know that in the back of my mind, I wanted to create something called Letters to My Younger Self, but I never heard of Podbean as a podcast. But I never really had that intention because I saw it as very elaborate, very consuming. But I think that conversation, it brought us together to say and create and see possibilities. And so you asked me a question when we initially started our own individual space of the podcast, and it says, when you work with women, Maria, who are in that space between who they were and who they are becoming, and that is that different realities that they find themselves, what do you see as the most critical mindset shift that allows them to move from hidden, broken to feeling powerful? And you may have touched that yourself in different questions about you. And so you were asking that question to me that I addressed in my first episode in my podcast. But I want us now to talk about this shift.
So do you want me to answer your question?
Well,
Sorry.
it was your question to me, and this
Yeah.
space for conversations. I'm not here really to talk about myself, but I want, but yes, please answer it from your
think
point of
I
view.
I think like the most let me go back to the question. Like the most critical mindset shift that allows them to move from feeling broken to feeling powerful, I think it's the change in identity. It's that self-belief that you are good, that you have a lot of potential, that you can create. You are creators, and we are creators, Maria.
We are.
And we have to believe in that, you know, we have to believe that we have a different style of leadership. Maybe it's a little different, but it works. And a lot of studies, a lot of research, they've been proven this. We can create our own reality if we want. It's just a matter of thoughts. You have to change your thought, and you have to change the way you think of yourself. Maybe like instead of asking, what do I need to do to succeed? Maybe the question, who am I becoming? You know?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is it ask for me to do to be that woman that I want to be? Not what do I need to do? It's not about performance.